Hi, library friends. It's Miss M. I'm here with a project that's going to take us over a couple of months. We're going to work both inside and outside, and it is perfect for families. We are going to make a pizza garden. What do I hear people saying? What? A pizza garden? How do you grow pizza? Well, you don't really grow pizza. What you do is you grow the ingredients that go into pizza. Because, who doesn't like pizza? So, we're going to start today with that, and we're going to grow our ingredients from seed. You also need to make sure that you have all your supplies together. Here's a list of what you need. We've got growing trays or small containers. You either need a plastic lid, and that usually comes with a growing tray, or if you have plastic wrap, that works well too. You need a growing medium. We can't use dirt from our backyard. We either need to use seedling mix or potting mix. Actually, what I've done is use both of them kind of to help the seeds along as they go. The seedling mix, because it has all sorts of nutrients and powerful things like vitamins and nitrates in there to help the seedlings start to grow. And then the potting mix helps it grow stronger as it continues to grow. You also need seeds, and you also want a nice sunny place to put your seed tray or your containers. I'm not only putting mine in a sunny place, but the nice thing is it's my radiator, which has a cover, a very flat cover, so it will be stable. So not only will I get heat and light from the sun, which will help my seeds grow, but the heat from underneath the containers from the radiator will also help them grow. So we want to make sure we've got everything all together all at once. Now, the nice thing about a growing tray, and I have one here, is that it actually has a tray, and in it, it has 72 spaces to put dirt to plant seeds. Now you can see I've actually already put my dirt in. I want to make labels so that you know what you planted in which row, and you can identify them very quickly, especially when they're little. All this is a piece of paper, a toothpick, a little bit of tape, and then I wrote in marker. I did make a mix of both seedling and potting mix, and so what I needed to do was make sure that it got all mushed together so nobody got too much of one or too much of another. So this is a box of lettuce that I've reused, and then to mix and scoop, I reused a takeout container. And it's really great because you can get a lot of dirt or a seedling mix in there. So I did that. Then I put them into each of the individual containers there. I also, because I had so much dirt and I have so many seeds, I also used a yogurt container to put my soil mix in. And these are great too. The one thing that you have to remember when you use a container like this is that you must put drainage holes in it. In the event that you accidentally overwatered, the water will drain out through the holes so that your seeds won't rot. If you go this route, you need to have an adult make the holes or the slits in the bottom of the this container, because it's very hard plastic. You need a sharp knife or sharp scissors, and let me tell you, you can hurt yourself. So somebody with a longer, stronger arm, an adult or a teenager, should put the slits in the bottom of this container. So what you do is you fill up either your containers or each of the little seed pockets, as I call them, in the growing tray, and you fill them up with dirt, and then you water them a little bit. Not a lot. You don't want it soaking wet, but you want it moist so that the dried seeds will say, ooh, water, and try to reach out to that water, and that's how they start to develop their roots. Now, your dirt will start out about this. You're going to fill it up about halfway, and then you're going to add some water, and it's going to go whoosh. And then we're going to put our seeds in, and then you're going to cover it up with just a very little bit on the top to cover and protect the seed, but not too much, because you don't want your seed to spend all its time trying to burst through a layer of dirt and then it has no energy to continue to grow. So a little wet dirt, your seed, and a very thin lining on top, which again, you're going to water just a little. A spray bottle would be perfect for that. However, you can also simply use water that is at room temperature. And that's what I have to do because I can't find my spray bottle. All right, so we know about the dirt. Well, what are you going to put in a pizza garden? Everything has to go together because you can't grow tomato sauce, but you can grow tomatoes. I am growing Roma tomatoes. These are considered to be one of the best tomatoes to make a sauce. They're also very good just plain sliced to eat or put in a salad. You could also just put plain slices on top of your pizza and forego the sauce altogether. We are growing basil and oregano. These are two spices that you'll find in a lot of Italian cooking and especially in a lot of tomato sauces. We're going to grow chives. Chives are actually part of the onion family, but they're not really strong. They're mild. They look like kind of hollow tube grass shoots when they come up, and you can see, I think the light's too bad, but you can see that there are flowers on top. These are actually edible. I put them in my salads, and when these bloom, not only that means that the chives are just beginning to get to the point where they're almost ready, but you can eat the flowers on the top of the from the top of the chive, and then the chives you can do one of two things. You can either put them in a tomato sauce, or you can just pick them and then snip them up and just scatter them all over the top of the pizza sauce. We're growing parsley. Parsley is a great thing. Parsley is one of those funny things though too. It doesn't really add its own flavor, but it does help boost the flavor of other things. And it also, amazingly, if you put too much salt into something, the parsley doesn't take away the salt, but it takes away the extra salty too much flavor. Parsley is a great thing. So it adds depth of flavor, and it also takes away salt in case you mismeasured and there's too much salt in something that you want. And finally, to add a little more spice, I am actually going to grow hot cherry peppers. My kids love hot food, and they like hot peppers on their pizza. You can eat these plain, you can slice them up and again scatter them across your pizza, or if you chop them really finely and don't use a lot, you can add them again to a pizza sauce just to give it a little extra zing. Fabulous. Now I told you that I made signs for all my my rows of plantings. One of the most important things about this, especially when you label, you can probably remember what you're looking at and where you put them, but I want to show you. Let's see if we can do that. Oh, I can't. There we go. See those? Those are the hot cherry pepper seeds. They're small. They're not that small, but they look tremendously like tomato seeds. Now, you wouldn't want to make that mistake. And at a certain point, you're going to figure out just by the leaf on the plant that one is one and one is the other, but why make a mistake? So that way, with labels, it's much easier to not forget and not make a mistake. I'm going to start with my tomatoes. I should not have put them away. I'm going to take my growing tray. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention about the growing trays, which are really nice, in the bottom of each of the seed planting containers is a slit. So I don't have to worry about scissors or a sharp object. There's already a slit in the bottom that will let water out. The other nice thing about a seed tray is that it actually has a tray. So if there is too much water, the tray actually collects it and it will sit there. And if you forget to water your seeds one day, the water that's in the bottom will actually come up through the dirt and help keep them moistened until you remember. All right, so I have 12 tomato seed planting spaces in this, and I'm going to do the same for the basil, the oregano, the chives, the parsley, and the hot peppers. One thing I would like to tell you that you should do is you should probably consider, actually, never mind consider, you should simply just put more than one seed in each of your containers or your little planting slots, because sometimes not all seeds grow. And to make sure that you have something in each and every one of them, you should probably put anywhere from 2 to 3 seeds in each of the growing medium containers. In this yogurt cup, I actually put about 5 to 6 seeds. When they start to grow and they begin to start showing leaves as they come up through the soil, what you want to do is take a look at the biggest ones, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take out the smaller ones so that the big one has room to grow. If you want to try to grow the smaller ones in another container, if you have more soil mixture, that's great, but otherwise just concentrate on the one and help it be as strong as it possibly can be. All right, so we put our dirt in, we put our seeds in. We're going to put more dirt on top of it. Then we are going to water it just a little bit more. Okay, and then finally what we're going to do is I am going to put plastic wrap on top of mine, because even though this is a seed tray and they normally come with container tops or a plastic top to help keep the heat and the moisture in, my planting trays are old and the top to my planting tray broke after about 6 years. So you can use just plain old ordinary plastic wrap. What that does is, as I said, it helps keep the moisture stay in, and it also helps keep the heat in that's going to come into the window from your sunny spot. As I said, I'm putting mine on my radiator in my dining room because that gets great sun, and that little extra warmth from the bottom will also help the seeds feel like it's time to start growing. Hang on, I will be right back, and we will talk about what we're going to do next. One thing that I did forget to mention is that if you use the yogurt containers or a similar sort of plastic container, not because you have drainage holes in the bottom or drainage slits, the one thing that you want to do is make sure that you have something underneath them that will catch the water if it drains, so that you don't ruin the surface that you have them on. These two are going to go on my radiator in my very sunny window in my dining room after I put plastic on them. Now we're going to wait for a few days. I will be back with more information in a couple of weeks maybe, and you'll see the progress on my plants. After we get done with the beginning of the growth and maybe some weeding of the seedlings, and the weather gets nicer, probably in about 4 weeks, we're going to go out to my backyard and we're actually going to plant them in my garden. You can get seeds either at a garden store, you can get them at a place that sells gardening supplies, or you can go online and order them from a number of different places that will ship them to you. That is going to require an adult. So you got a couple of options. I hope you get to do some of this with me, and if not, just enjoy the progress that happens with my garden, and with any kind of luck, We'll be making pizza together this summer.